What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Knicks Latest. I gotta say, I'm curious what you guys think. It's a Friday morning. Obviously, I'm loving this Knicks playoff run. I love coming on and talking Knicks basketball with all you guys, but I really have to say this. I have been so bored this last week. Obviously, I love that the Knicks are getting rest and recovery, especially for OG Anunoby. He's going to heal up, and hopefully he's going to be out there for game number 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. But I just got to say, to the Pistons and the Cavaliers, can you please hurry up? Hurry up. I need to see my New York Knickerbockers back on the court, playing and getting us closer to the NBA Finals. This week has been such a drag in terms of not having to watch our beloved New York Knicks. I haven't watched Jalen Brunson absolutely cross somebody up and hit a mid-range jumper on him. I haven't seen Karl-Anthony Towns look like Magic Johnson out there. I haven't seen Mikal Bridges playing great basketball, and I haven't seen the three-pointers flying, and I don't like it. Not to mention the NBA, as much as I love it, they messed up yesterday, no basketball game. Why did the Timberwolves and Spurs get 2 days in between Game 5 and Game 6? That was absolutely ridiculous. This has been so beyond boring. Pistons and Cavs need to hurry up, and this needs to end tonight. Game 6 in Cleveland, Pistons, Cavs. The Cavs are currently up 3-2. They shocked the world last night, winning their first road game of the playoffs, and the Detroit Pistons choked it away. They were up 3 with not up 3. They were up 9 with 3 minutes to go. Got the score and the clock mixed up. They were up 9 with about 3 minutes to go, and the Detroit Pistons choked it away. The Cavs rallied back, forced overtime, and they eventually won it in overtime to go up 3-2. Now, I'm going to talk about how this Game 6, the outcome, could mainly affect the Knicks in a way that could almost give them even an extra boost for a guaranteed win. Now, obviously, we talked about the positives and negatives of playing to each. You guys know my opinion if you watched throughout this week. I want to play Cleveland. Biggest thing, you always want to have home court advantage. And then another part of it is, not that I'm scared of Detroit, their play style is different from the Knicks, and the Knicks didn't play well against it in the regular season. Obviously, that's not the end-all, be-all, as we saw last year. Boston and New York, the regular season didn't really matter. But the Pistons are playing personal against us because last year, the Knicks beat them in the first round, and the Detroit Pistons players act like if the Knicks didn't win that series, the Pistons were going on to win the NBA championship. Now, obviously, we know that was never going to be the case, but the Pistons players have bought into that, and they believed it, and they've kind of used it to their advantage. Despite their offensive struggles and a couple of some injuries and some awful play from Jalen Duren, the Pistons are still dangerous because they take the matchup personally. Sort of the way the Knicks took Boston personally. When you play like that, it makes it dangerous. Knicks and Cavs, it's just business for both sides. There's no vendetta. There's no super rivalry. Obviously the Knicks beat the Cavs 4 years ago, but both these teams they feel very different. So certainly I don't take a lot from that. But the biggest thing now is about advantage. If Cleveland wins tonight in game number 6, game 1 would start Sunday. And it was revealed yesterday by Ian Begley. At least he's the first person I saw it from. So if it was another person that broke that, I apologize. But I saw it via Ian Begley of SNY, who covers the Knicks. He tweeted, that if the Cavs win tonight, game 1 is Sunday at 3:30. And if it goes to a Game 7, Game 1 is Tuesday at 7. So obviously, if a Game 1 is on Sunday, that's a day game. That's a very, very short turnaround after an emotional, long series. Even if it doesn't go 7, 6 games is a lot, especially against a team like Detroit, who plays ferocious, physical defense. It still takes a toll. And tonight, they're going to give it everything they have to force a Game 7. A desperate team is the most dangerous team. But if the Cavs can somehow pull this out, they're going to have less than a full 48 hours to rest and recovery. Plus, then they have to travel all the way to New York. That is a significant advantage for the New York Knicks to have the team coming off a series plus traveling and less than 2 full days to recuperate and recover. It's almost a guaranteed win in game number 1, coming off a week plus of rest for the New York Knicks. Similar to this past second round against Philly. Obviously, they won Game 7 in Boston. They had less than 2 full days of rest. They had to go back to Philly, then come to New York, and the Knicks killed them by 39 in the first game. 30 was Game 4. Get my 30-point blowout victories mixed up. Excuse me. But that would be a huge advantage for the New York Knicks if they have the Cavs playing on less than full 48 hours of recovery. The Knicks need that to happen. James Harden is old. He's been playing very good these last couple of games, but certainly we've seen him mess up when the lights are at their brightest. Donovan Mitchell is inconsistent. This is the moment we need the Knicks to get. Cleveland, if you're listening or if you're watching, as LeBron James would say, this is for you. Let's go, Cavs. Get this done tonight. Come to the Garden and let's battle. You want to go to the finals, bring your best shot and bring your A game tonight. Now, because there's not a lot to talk about, we're going to talk about a minor story. I think this is going to make Knicks fans happy. I certainly just learned this late last night, so I thought I'd come on and talk about it. I wasn't sure which network every game was going to be on for the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals, obviously, with this being year one of the new CBA, TV deal, CBA. I don't know the specific name for it, but obviously now with 3 networks, ESPN, NBC, and Prime, you never know who's going to get what. So it looks like the Western Conference Finals will be exclusive to NBC, and the Eastern Conference Finals this year will be exclusive to ESPN, which means that Mike Breen will be calling every single game for the rest of the New York Knicks season, barring anything unforeseen. Mike Breen, the Knicks local play-by-play guy and the absolute GOAT of GOAT announcers, Mike Breen will be on the call for every game the rest of this season. This just makes me happy for, obviously, the first reason. Thank the heavens above that the Knicks no longer have to play a game listening to Reggie Miller on commentary. Reggie just always, there's a sour note. He's always anti-Knicks, whether he wants to believe it or not. He always hopes the other team's about to start a rally. Whenever a team scores 2 or 3 buckets in a row, he goes, here they come. They can cut this to 15 or 10 or whatever the number is. They're going to get in this. He just gets so excited whenever the Knicks look like they're going to blow it. You can tell the bias is there. Mike Breen, obviously, I'm sure he wants the Knicks to win, and I'm sure hopefully he's a little biased, not at least for me. I'm just kidding, though. Mike is obviously the best at what he does, and I know he holds a special place in my heart and to many New York Knicks fans' hearts. It certainly feels a little bit like destiny. Don't get me wrong. Last year would have been great to win it on TNT, and we go to the NBA Finals. Obviously, everybody wanted that, but it only feels right that if the Knicks are going to win their next round matchup, whoever it's against, they win it, you're going to hear Mike Breen say, this one's over, folks. And for the first time since 1999, the New York Knicks are headed to the NBA Finals. That feels like it's meant to be. If there was one guy that was going to make that call on the air, it had to be Mike Breen. So certainly hoping that is the case. But Mike Breen, the New York Knicks regular play-by-play announcer and the absolute greatest of all time, will be on the call for every Knick game the rest of this season through the Eastern Conference Finals and hopefully the NBA Finals. So certainly great news for New York Knicks fans. Mike Breen will be with us the rest of the way until the end. Now, before we talk about our last topic, let's get a quick word from our sponsor, Kalshi. The playoffs are here, and it's the most electric time in basketball. On Kalshi, you can trade every single playoff game, every series, the conference finals, and even the championship. Right now, the New York Knicks are waiting for their Eastern Conference Finals opponent between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. The Cavs are trading at 75% to beat the Detroit Pistons, meaning a $100 trade pays out to $133 if they win the series. As the playoffs heat up, those numbers move in and out in real time, and you can buy in or out anytime. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use the code FANARCHBASKETBALL, all caps, no spaces, to get $10 when you trade 10. That's Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything. Now, before we wrap up here, there's one big major news story. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the Knicks, but like we said, not a lot of news going. No games yesterday. So this story came out yesterday, so I thought I'd talk about it because it's major news. Once again, it involves the King, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. That has to do with LeBron James. LeBron James, there was a story that came out, according to Bobby Marks and Brian Windhorst of ESPN, that right now LeBron James is not willing to take less money from the Lakers as he believes they have no plan in what they are going to be doing heading into the future. In a way, there's some reports say he feels a little disrespected, and the Lakers' plans are to move forward with Luka Doncic, obviously, as the face and future of the franchise. But having said that, Bobby Marks also went out and said that LeBron would be willing to take a $15 million $15 million mid-level, possibly a non-taxpayer mid-level exception to teams over the apron, and then possibly a veteran minimum for contending teams. That if that is true, again, it's early. The offseason is far away for when free agency begins. But if that story is true, that makes LeBron's free agency some of the most exciting offseason news probably since 2010 before he took his talents to South Beach. LeBron's free agency was one of the biggest storylines in NBA offseason history. Every team he met with, every team was trying to find coaches. They were making big pitches involving celebrities. It was crazy. I remember that summer like yesterday. I really thought then he was going to come to the Knicks. But certainly, if that's the case, if he's willing to take a veteran minimum, I said it the other day when we were talking about possibly where LeBron can end up. The Knicks are a perfect fit for him. I really believe that. And like I said, LeBron has an off-ball guard that's a great three-point shooter and can also isolate to the basket, a stretch big that's willing to shoot the three, and it could also allow him to play a little bit off the ball and cut to the basket and get some killer dunks. If you think what Cat's doing for OG, getting him to the rim, imagine if he could do that for LeBron. And then plus, LeBron could be a third option without being a third option in the sense that he doesn't have to score the most points, but he's going to have the ball as much as he wants because Cat and Brunson don't need the ball in order to be effective. LeBron could always have the ball. Then you throw in McHale and OG, great shooters and defenders on the wings. And then obviously they have a couple more minimum guys. If they can bring back Clarkson and Shamet, or I'm sure they can find guys to replace them with, God forbid they don't come back. Plus, they can possibly bring back a lob threat in Mitchell Robinson. It seems like a great fit on paper, but that's a huge story that LeBron James could possibly be willing to take less money in order to join a contending team and possibly compete for one, if not more championships. That is such a big story, and especially in the NBA today, every team is so pressed for cap space, especially contending teams. Most teams are right up against the second apron without going over, and it makes it very tough to make major moves after you already have a lot of guys under contract. So, and especially a lot of the teams that have cap space aren't necessarily contending teams. So certainly if he's willing to take less money, that changes a lot of things. And I'm sure there's tons of cities out there, tons of teams that are going to try and get LeBron, whether it be Miami. I'm sure Denver, maybe he wants to go with Jokic. I'm sure other teams, possibly even the Detroit Pistons. I'm sure maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers want to get back involved. The Golden State Warriors. Most teams could still use LeBron James despite heading into his age 42 season. LeBron was still incredibly effective, especially in these playoffs. He averaged around 23, 7, and 7. So certainly not the player he once was, obviously, in 2018 when he was averaging close to a 35-point triple-double every single night. But certainly a player that is still effective and can definitely help a contending team get even closer to overcoming the powerhouses of this league like the Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio Spurs, who look like they're a future dynasty in the making. And hopefully he joins the Knicks, or hopefully he has to go somewhere to take down the defending champion New York Knicks. So that's certainly something that will be fun to watch and monitor. But thought I'd mention that because I think it's going to be a big story. LeBron James willing to take less money. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about that in the offseason. But that's all we got for today. But before we wrap up, I just want to say a quick thank you to all you guys. Yesterday, we had our most viewed show since I started, close to 900 viewers, and the subscriber count keeps growing. You guys are awesome. You're the best. I can't thank you enough. Obviously, we know for 100% New York Knicks fans are the best, and no matter what, they always show up to support. So once again, I can't thank you guys enough. You know, everything is clicking at the right time for the team, as well for me. So let's set a new goal. Let's get a video with 1,000 views, and let's try to get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's try to get to 1,000 subscribers, not if, but when the New York Knicks win the NBA championship. So let's comment, and subscribe the New York Knicks to a championship. Let's do it for them, and let's do it for me. So once again, I can't say it enough. Thank you guys so much. We're just getting started on this channel. That's all we got. Make sure to stay tuned. If the Cavaliers win tonight, I will be back this weekend to preview Knicks Cavs. If not, you'll see me next week previewing whoever they end up playing. But that's all for tonight. Go New York, go New York, go.